back. We're moving along on our mouse. This is where we ended up. So today we're going to put a tummy on, and it's the opportunity to make your mouse fat if you want him to be fat. And then we'll do the pelt or the top coat and maybe wrap a little bit of a top coat on the tail. And then the next video we'll work on the head. Okay, so we want to get doing a white belly on here. And I'm using the off-white core wool from the supply pack. I love this core wool. It's really thick. It's very consistent. You know, you can use it in the smallest amount and it still has a really nice, consistent, you know, easy to wrap or utilize kind of feel to it. But even big, it's very smooth and it felts really, really well. It's soft, but it still has enough kink to needle felt. So I'm going to pull a piece about, I'm calling this 2 inches, but you know, not counting the fringy parts. And then I want to kind of spread it out to be the distance from the chest to the hind legs here. And I'm going to felt kind of almost a triangle, not quite pointy at the tip. I'm sure there's a name for this shape, but it's escaping me. Some kind of rhombus or something. Anyway, about 1 inch across here, and then let it get wider towards the back. And then, so just drew the shape on there, and then I'm going to fold the edges into the center, and that thickens it up. And what this is going to do, I'll just show you where it's going. It needs to be felted more, but I'll show you where it's going. Is it's going to go like this. So, if you want your mouse to be fat, then you need to put more than this on him. Like you could actually put a little fat poof right where his belly would be by felting another piece. And I'm just going to do a simple rectangle, which is I felt a line delineating the center third, and then I fold the outer 2/3 in. And that makes a nice thick rectangle. So we'll put his little, let's see, put it this way. Give him a little poofy belly. So it's just a choice. You know, you can have a skinny mouse if you want, or you can have an obese mouse who's living high off the hog in your kitchen. Okay. And then we put this, and I just want this to come up over the chest a little bit between the front arms. Be careful, there's a lot of wire in there. And the back, I want to actually come onto the thighs a little bit, because their little thighs get enveloped by their hide and their skin. So we're going to start to blend that that joint there where the thigh meets the body. And I'm leaving the sides off of the body. I'm not, you know, bringing the sides around and felting them real tight. I'm just letting them stay to the side for now. And then over this, we want to use some of the white, the nicer white, which you'll be able to tell the difference. I think the nicer white is in the little bag in your kit. And I'm pulling and restacking because what that does is it gets you to the shortest, to the length of the staple of the fibers, so that all of them are pretty much the same length. And then I'm going to put this across with the fibers pointing to each side of the mouse. And for now, again, I'm going to leave those sticking out because I get to decide later how I want to finish these edges, and you'll see what I mean in a second. Okay. So the next thing to do, so we have all this white going on his belly, is to create a pelt. So you can see on this guy how the pelt wraps around and, like I said, envelops those little thighs. His thigh is in there, and blends with the white on the belly. But before we do that, let's put a little bit of the gray on his tail. So we have this pretty top coat gray, and I'm just going to select a piece. Just a long, thin piece, and I'm just wrapping the base of the tail. I think it gives them like a, I don't know, I like having a little bit of hair on the tail as opposed to an entirely pink tail. And just kind of let it, get thin and blend into the pink. And now when we put the pelt on, it'll meet that base of the tail, and all of that will come together well. Okay, so to make the pelt, we want to lay fibers horizontally on our work surface that are about, remember that shape that, I should have looked it up before I started the video. Anyway, it's a triangle but without a point. It's flat on the top. And so you want your fibers to go that way, thinking of that shape. And I like to put on the pelts a little bit of the core fiber underneath because it just gives you a nice, solid, easily feltable wool to felt into. And so front to back, it goes from the neck to the butt. That's the distance. It's like a little smaller than your hand, I guess. And then the top coat goes on top of that. So there's been a lot of discussion, people who are getting started not knowing what kind of wool to buy, and I was in the same boat when I started, and now I can utilize almost any fiber, but there really is a difference between what I would consider a sculptural or core wool and what I would consider a more sort of refined, kind of pretty top coat wool. The sculptural core wools are fuzzier, and they just needle felt really quickly and build up bulk quickly. And the top coats are a little more fine and maybe longer fibers. If I knew all my sheep breeds really well, I could tell you, what kind of wool comes from what sheep. But I do know that a lot of the core wools that I like are actually blends of all kinds of sheep, and I think that's kind of important because you get a lot of different textures which needle felt really well. So I'm leaving the edges fringy because I want them to be able to come around and blend with the tummy. And so now I've got this pelt that's going to go on our little guy who's looking very much like a science experiment. So if you flatten them out like this, you can see how this covers the thighs, can even go on his neck. We want to let it blend in with his arms a little bit. And I usually start by centering it and just getting it stuck a little bit on the back. And then I flip them over, and this is where I just kind of let these fold around and in. And you can felt the gray and white to be a real clear line. Like, you know, here's where the gray ends and here's where the white ends. Kind of like that. Of course, that requires more felting. Or you can just let them fold in and let them blend a little bit and have a little bit of a more blurred line, which is what I usually do. I'm more of a blendy person than a straight line kind of person. So just letting the pelt and this belly fiber encapsulate. I'm going to change this to match the other side. Encapsulate those little thighs. Kind of gives it a real mousy look. Okay, and then I'll keep working on the front too. Okay, so off camera, two things happened. I felted my pelt on a little bit better, and Kyla came up with trapezoid, which we then Googled, and that is the shape. So now I know. I won't have to fluster around anymore with shape names. So this is where we are, and I'm not sure if we have one or two more videos left for the head. Probably two. So I can take my time and stay detailed with it. So we'll see you next time. Thanks.